Hey guys, Caleb Bakes01 back with my Ranked series today. It's been a little while since I've done my last episode of Ranked. The last episode was the Friday the 13th franchise. That was a lot of fun. That's where I ranked all the films from my least favourite to favourite. Those who don't know the series, that's basically what I do. Grab a franchise or a series of films and just rank them from, as I said, my least favourite to my favourite. This time around, I decided to do the Elm Street films, the Nightmare on Elm Street series. There's a few reasons why I decided to do that. Firstly, I feel like, once again, it's a pretty well-known franchise. Even if you haven't seen all of the movies, I feel like majority of people would have seen majority of the movies, so it's a pretty safe bet to go to. Also, last month was my birthday. I turned 21, and for my 21st birthday, I decided to have a themed birthday, and I went with Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't normally have themed birthdays, but for a 21st, I decided to pull the trigger and go for it, and I appreciate everyone that helped me set that up. And even though a 21st here in Australia really isn't a big deal, you know, the legal age for majority of things here is 18, so not much changes when you turn 21 here, but still enjoyed myself. And while I was there setting up everything to make it look Freddy related or Elm Street related, I'm like, how come I haven't done a ranked episode on this franchise yet? So that's what we're doing today. So I've got all 9 movies, being the original 6, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason, and then the remake from 2010. So these videos normally take a while, so I'm going to try and do it all in one take. We'll get started now. I've got my water here. Also just wanted to say, I've got a Nightmare on Elm Street box set here. So obviously a lot of the movies are in this thing. And it's going to be really repetitive if I just keep pulling this out. So I'm going to actually pull out the discs individually for wherever they come on this list. So starting off the list at my number 9, my least favourite in the franchise is Part 6, Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. I feel like a lot of people would probably presume the remake is going to come last, but I think a lot of people forget how bad this movie is. I feel like the franchise gets weaker as it goes on, but, you know, obviously with such an inventive idea as Freddy being in people's nightmares, you know, you can do so much with that. This movie's just, it feels fucking lazy, and it's borderlining unwatchable, honestly. I think a lot of people forget how bad this movie really is, and that's unfortunate because, as I said, you can have a lot of fun with majority of these films, but this one, there is no real drive to ever go back and revisit this one, honestly. And yeah, I think a lot of people would have seen this movie, and I think most people agree that this one is pretty bad. So coming in at my number 9 is Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. Alright. Coming in at my number 8, we have the 2010 remake. This is a movie I actually put off watching for the longest time. I didn't even want to pick it up, just because I heard such bad things about it, and I'm a big fan of the original franchise, so I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna put it off for as long as I can. Finally pulled the trigger on watching it not too long ago, and yeah, no, it's pretty fucking bad if I'm being honest. Yeah, it has its moments. I actually don't mind, you know, where it shows the backstory of Freddy, and, you know, there's a couple of cool ideas, but overall, just fucking, it just feels really weak. The kills are a major step down. Some of the CGI is really bad too. Yeah, and they fucked up my boy. They really did fuck up Freddy. You know, they just made him weird. I don't know. I like the thing where he, like, rubs his razors together. I actually think that's kind of cool, but otherwise, you know, I just feel like it took a lot of fun out of the franchise, and I don't know, a really disappointing remake. So that's my number 8, I think. The 2010 remake. Alright. Coming in at my number 7, gotta get a disc out, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Once again, as I said, I feel like the original franchise gets worse as it goes on, and pretty self-explanatory. I just think this is one of the weaker films. I think what the whole franchise, from at least the first film to 5, have in common are really good kills. So This one, the kills are really inventive and really creative, but otherwise the story just doesn't connect and stay with me. Overall, I find this one a little bit lackluster, but as I said, I think the kills for the majority of this franchise are pretty strong, so Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, Dream Child, coming in at my number 7, I believe. That's what I always fuck up when I'm doing my videos, what number I'm up to, but I believe this one will be my number 6. Coming in at number 6 is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. Once again, I pretty much have 4 and 5 on par with each other. I just think this one's slightly better. Once again, kills are really fucking solid for the most part. But again, the story is where it loses interest for me. I just don't find myself coming back to this one again, sort of like Part 5 a lot, but it's got its moments. As I said, the kills are really strong. Yeah, it's got parts that I enjoy, but overall, just one of the more lackluster ones in the franchise. Alright, coming out at my number 5, I think this would surprise people that it got this high, but Freddy versus Jason. You know, I don't think this movie is a fucking standout, but I really like some of the things that are in this one. I've always said that this feels like a Jason on Elm Street movie, as in, Jason is the villain that's predominantly in this movie, but the movie feels very Elm Street, very dreamlike, and I love it for that. And then obviously having Robert Englund play Freddy and face off against Jason, it's a lot of fun, and you know, you do have your little dream sequences in there, and you know, Freddy as the fucking caterpillar is fucking weird, smoking the I believe it's a bong, I don't know, I can't remember, I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I do honestly have a bit of fun with this one. The thing that I like most about this one is the fact that it is very dreamlike and feels very Elm Street, so Freddy vs. Jason is at my number, what did I say? I think my number 5. Okay. So we've got 4 films left. Coming in at my number 4, we have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This might be another one that people are surprised is this high, but I really love Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And I think off the top of my head, I'm gonna safely say this is the only Elm Street movie that I watched where the first time seeing it when I was a bit younger, it actually genuinely scared me, especially the scene where the kid's laying in bed and he lifts up the blanket and Freddy's there and pulls him down. That fucking terrified me when I was younger, but this movie, it's very enjoyable, obviously very, you know, aware of itself. Wes Craven knew what he was doing here. If you don't know this movie, I'm not going to explain the plot, but it was pretty much Wes Craven testing out the idea for Scream before he really pulled the trigger on it, and because as you know, Scream is very aware of itself, knows that it's a horror movie. This one is very similar to that, and with that I have a lot of fun. I like the idea of Freddy actually genuinely being like a dream demon and this actual being and creature. I thought that was so cool, but it's been a little while since I've seen this one, so I wasn't going to put it too much higher, but I really do enjoy Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and I feel annoyed because I feel like a lot of people haven't actually checked out this one. I don't know, I feel like die-hard horror fans obviously have, but there are a lot of people that I still think have slept on that one, which is unfortunate. Alright, coming in at my number 3, this is honestly a film that I thought could have possibly went as my number 1, but I'll explain why I have it at number 3, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Off the top of my head, if someone said, what is your favourite Nightmare on Elm Street film, I would have probably said this one. But the reason why I'm not gonna put it at my number 1 or 2 is because I watched the other 2 movies a lot more than this one. Which is weird, you know, as I said, if someone asked me straight to my face, name your favourite film in the Elm Street franchise, I would have said Dream Warriors, but as I said, I just don't revisit this one as much as the other 2, but anyway, I really, really like the setting in this one, being in the hospital. Freddy's kills are fucking insane in this one. I really like the one where he has the guy's veins using him as a puppet. That one's so fucking cool. I think the kills are the best in the franchise in this one. Freddy doesn't look amazing, his makeup's not the best, but obviously, as always, Robert Englund smashes it out of the park. I think you can't go wrong with any of the first three in the franchise. Obviously, if you've been paying attention, they're the films that we have left, but yeah, I sort of surprised myself not having this one any higher, but as I said, a little bit of an explanation there. Obviously, things change over time as well, so I could do this video in a month's time and this one could be higher or lower. But anyway, my 3 is Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. Alright, down to the final 2. And coming in at number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. This is one I'm so happy over the past few years has been getting more love, because I remember very early on, this is one that people just avoided and didn't enjoy talking about. And I remember from the first time seeing it, I fucking loved this one. I thought this one was so much fun. I know that story-wise and plot-wise it goes a little bit off the rails from what the original one sets as like lore for the franchise and all that. I understand that, but put that all aside because you have so much fucking fun with this movie. Obviously cool kills. I love the scene, it's in one of my intros on my channel, where Freddy rips out of, what's his name? I think it's Jesse, rips out of Jesse. I love that fucking scene, and he absolutely goes apeshit at that pool party. Love it, love it, love it. This movie is so fucking cool, and as I said, I'm so happy that over the past few years, it's actually getting a lot more love, and people are starting to actually hold it quite highly in the franchise, which I'm so happy about. And especially since that documentary that was done on this movie, Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a documentary, obviously, on this film. Talks about the gay / I guess queer undertones of this film, but this movie is so much fun, and I'm so happy it's getting more love now. And obviously now we're down to my number 1, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what my number 1 is. It is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I could rabble on all day about this one, but I feel like majority of people have seen it, and I feel like this is a safe bet for saying it that it's the most popular in the franchise. I mean, so inventive, the idea of having this serial killer hunt people down in their dreams, and, you know, people being scared to fall asleep. There's so much creativity behind this. Wes Craven is a fucking mastermind for putting this together. Obviously our first sample as of Robert Englund as Freddy. I love Heather Langenkamp. This whole movie is fucking awesome. Once again, one of my favourite kills in the franchise. You know, the one where she's dragged along the ceiling and thrown around the room. That's fucking awesome. And, you know, as I said, I could talk about this one all day, but I feel like majority of people have seen this one. Nightmare on Elm Street as my number 1 for the franchise. I just think it's fucking awesome, so I'll leave it there. But as we normally do at the end of these videos, we'll quickly recap and go back through. So my number 9 was Part 6, Freddy's Dead. As I said, I feel like a lot of people genuinely forget how bad this movie actually is, because it's, as I said, borderlining on almost unwatchable, and it's like almost, cringe is almost the fucking word for it, because it's genuinely there. My number 8 was the 2010 remake. I mean, pretty self-explanatory if you've seen that one. You know, it has some decent moments, but I mean, the only film I could put it above, as I said, is borderlining unwatchable, so that's not saying much. So that was my 9, 8. My number 7 was Dream Child Part 5. Yeah, just, I feel like a more so lackluster one in the franchise. Cool kills, but that's about the only thing that I feel like it has going for it, but, you know, kills are awesome anyway, so. So, 9, 8, 7. My number 6 was Dream Master, so Part 4. Once again, kills are cool. it was really neck and neck with part 4 and 5, but I give the slight edge to part 4. That's not saying much. My number 5 was Freddy vs. Jason. I feel like a lot of people would have been surprised with this one being as high as it is, but I do have a lot of fun with this one. And as I said, just the Elm Street essence in that movie is fucking top notch, and I love it for that. My number 4, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I actually want to rewatch this one soon, because I haven't seen it in a while, if I'm being honest, and excuse me, yeah, definitely really fun times with this one, so I'll be going back to watch that one soon, hopefully. My number 3, like as I said, genuinely sort of surprised myself with this one being Dream Warriors Part 3. Yeah, I thought this one was going to be higher, but I just went with my gut and went with putting 2 other films that I watch more than this one, but honestly, like ask me tomorrow and I could have that one higher. I'm like confusing myself how it wasn't higher, honestly. My number 2 is Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. As I said, I think my favourite thing about this movie now is that it is getting more love, because I always thought it was so underrated, and I hated hearing how people just didn't enjoy this one, and it confused me, because it, like, as I said, I fucking love that movie. And then my number 1, pretty safe bet. I mean, no surprise. The first film, as I said, I don't really need to go into the plot or anything for this one, because everyone knows it. It's just so inventive, as I said, our first taste of Freddy, and what the franchise could offer, and Wes Craven really did smash it out of the park, so there we go, guys. That is my episode 2 of Ranked done. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what franchise you want to see next. I have one in mind, but you know, if someone pitches good reasoning for a different franchise, you might win me over and I might do that one. Feel free to comment anything, even if it's unrelated. Let me know your list or what you think of some of the films in this franchise, and I will hopefully see you guys very soon. Thank you for joining me again for an episode of Ranked, and I'll see you for some more content later down the track, guys. Thanks.